Okay, we are live. Hello, I am Ty Johnston. I'm a dungeon master tonight for a 5th edition's Dungeons & Dragons game featuring the Unnamed Adventurers Guild. And we've got some heroes gathered, and more might be showing up in a little while, which that shouldn't be an issue tonight. For those who have been following, a little update. The fishing village of Red Gill, which is not too far from the city of Illumina. Red Gill was fairly recently pretty much destroyed, devastated. Almost everyone in it was killed or taken slave. Red Gill was a fairly small village, and pretty much all the buildings were destroyed, burnt, crushed, whatever, by a group of Kuatoa, evil sea humanoid creatures, which our guild has had several run-ins with of late. And in fact, last adventure, the guild managed to slay the Kuatoa, for lack of a better word, and hopefully that will end the Kuatoa threat for a while. And it's been about 10 days since that undersea adventure, and now there is going to be an auction, a land auction at the site of Red Gill. The city of Illumina has set this up for the auction house of Blankenship and Louds come in, and it'll be a public auction for the grounds of Red Gill, since basically there are almost no survivors, but the few that there are will get some of the money from the auctions, with other monies going to the auctioneers and to the city of Illumina and various peoples. Well, Blankenship and Louds, the auction house, has contracted with the Unnamed Adventurers Guild to be security at the site of the former village of Red Gill. Trouble is not necessarily expected, but a lot of wealthy people are probably going to be in attendance. There could be a lot of money changing hands, or a lot of banknote, if not out and out cash like gold coins. There will probably be at least a lot of promissory notes from various banks in and around Illumina, which will pass hands. So this is kind of expected to be big money, since a conglomerate of shipping concerns, mostly captains and other entrepreneurs, have decided to build a wharf off of Red Gill, and it is expected that this wharf will bring a lot of other business, basically bring a whole lot of money, and will rebuild a new, bigger, and better Red Gill, bring more money into Illumina at some point. So a lot of people have hopes and money tied up in all of this situation. So I'll just say, sort of to get us started, I'll say it's a day before the auction. You guys are in Illumina. The guild does have a small junker ship now, which the guild will have hired a few sailors to sail you guys down to Red Gill whenever you're ready to go. It is about by the river. But like I said, right now it's the day before the auction. So if there's anything you want to do in town, or anything you want to plan before going to the site of the auction, let me know. And the auction will be at noon the following day. So if you get there early enough in the morning, you'll have some time to do any planning you want to do there. So what's everybody up to?
Alan's just trying to retrain his muscles, he's recovered from the bend, but he's just trying to keep his body healthy, working his muscles. So
Yeah, the guild hall. If you're interested in using it, the guild hall in Illumina does have like a training room. Um, it's really more for like combat training, but I'm sure there's probably some weights and things there too. If you're interested in other things.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's just working on his muscles, practicing his martial techniques and all that. You know, trying to, um, you know, get his monk body back into shape.
Okay.
Eros will, during this time, go ahead and replenish his quivers that he's carrying now, the two. One quiver with complete standard pointed broadheads, and the other one with blunted ones.
Okay. Non-deadly damage, basically.
Bludgeoning damage. It could be deadly to the right creature, I guess, or whatnot. But sometimes the instead of puncturing or slashing, the bludgeoning works better.
Yeah, that's true.
You never know when those skeletons will sneak up on you.
And like that, and he'll just burn up time traveling around Illumina, trying to pick up just some mundane supplies like some pemmican or jerky.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
And
Illumina's big enough
like
to find that stuff easy.
Yep.
So what has Stoic been up to of late? You're muted, or something is. There, well, heard you for a second.
Well, I just unplugged.
Lost you again.
Now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Now? Is that okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. Stoic's been looking after cleaning up the prisons and sort of looking after an infection in the prison. Just trying to inspire the prisoners to a better way of life, and got caught up in that. But now he's decided it's time to return to the adventuring life, see if he can find some more. He hears about now that the next adventure seems to be on land rather than at sea. He thinks this is for him.
Okay.
And he's going to see if there's a path along the side of the river, so he can jog along beside the boat, because dwarves shouldn't go on boats. Basically, it's old wisdom, and he challenged that last time, and he came a cropper. He's not wanting to risk it again.
Well, the good news is there are actually 2 land routes to Red Gill from Illumina. The bad news is either way you go on foot, it would take about 3 days.
How far in advance do we hear about this job?
Oh, you would probably know at least 3 days.
Okay.
Stoic. So if you wanted to set out, you could.
Stoic heads off overland, and the last thing you see of him is heading out on the right direction out overland.
There are, like I said, there's 2. One that goes further west around a swamp, and one that sort of goes through the edges of a swamp right along the shore. One along that goes through the swamp is actually much shorter, but it still takes about 3 days because, well, it's a swamp. if you want to deal with that and camp in a swamp for 3 days. Surprisingly enough, you will, while you're on the road, you will run into a face that you recognize. I don't think Stoic knows him real well, but he's probably seen his face before at least. And that would be Fletch, a fellow. Fletch is a human in his mid to late 20s. And the last time anyone in the guild saw Fletch was like a nervous wreck and drinking a whole lot. But when you run into Fletch on the road, he seems like almost a different person now. His clothes have been cleaned. His partial plate armor has been shined. His rapier has been shined. He's got a new whip. Even his bow that's on his long bow on his back has been waxed. His quiver that's on his back not only has some arrows in it, but it also there's an insert inside of it like a funny shaped vase that it's sporting some dark red roses. And over his left arm, he is wearing a cape made out of white fur. And it's like blindingly white fur with a little collar. And it's a little intimidating looking, or would be if you didn't know Fletch. But he has with him a half-orc traveling companion, and they are both also traveling on foot. And you run into them on about your second day out. And Fletch will be, I'm going to cut to the chase some, Fletch will be thrilled to see you, Stoic. And he'll basically tell you that he is also on his way to the auction. He has a plan to get some land at the auction. And he's planning on opening a bar, a tavern, called the Rose and the Dragon. And he's heard about you and some of your interests and experience. And he says he's in need, once he gets this tavern up and running, he's going to be in need of a receiving manager. Basically, somebody to order all the liquor.
Oh.
And he was thinking you might be the perfect person for that job. But think about it for a few days, and who knows? We'll see what happens at the auction. Hopefully Fletch will get the land he wants.
Trying his best to keep a poker face. Stoic says he'll consider it, but whenever he thinks nobody's looking at him, there's this broad grin and look of hope on his face, and his stride is a little bit faster.
And he will also tell you that it's going to be more than just a bar. I mean, there's going to be some food, but it's not going to be a restaurant. But next door, there will be like a weapons and a gear shop where people can buy stuff. And part of the reason for that is when you enter the bar, there's going to be a sign that says weapons are mandatory. So if you try to go in the bar and don't have a weapon, you have to go next door and buy one.
Oh, I like the sound of this place, but again, I'm trying to keep a stoic face.
And there'll probably end up being 1 or 2 private rooms in the back, and the upstairs will definitely be all private or semi-private. Probably a few bedrooms, a meeting room, and Fletch will have like an office or something up there. But most of the upstairs are going to be mainly for guild business. And there will be an alleyway out back. And the main rule, besides the fact that weapons are mandatory, is that they don't have bouncers. They will not ask anyone to leave. They will not throw them out. If you cause trouble, we will just attack you. And if you are knocked unconscious, if you pass out, or if you die, we will reserve the right to strip your body of everything that's on it, and then we'll throw you out in the alley. So that's how they're going to make money. Not to go out of the way to kill people. Bar business first. But we're not going to put up with anybody causing trouble, but we're not going to be nice about it either. Okay. And after he talks to you, probably while you're walking for a few hours, they'll go on their way. They've got someplace else they need to stop off at first before getting there.
I'll just sort of add a few more questions to that, but very dwarven questions like what's the foundation? Is it built on rock? And while their plans for a second floor is all very interesting, what's the cellar like? And are they going to dig a solid cellar underground, beer cellar in stone with a few dwarven quarters down there, so we can feel at home too?
That can be discussed.
Humans often forget these little details and build upwards rather than downwards, stupid as they are.
No, that's a good point. Fletch had not planned on there being any kind of a basement level because it will be fairly close to the ocean. But maybe that's something you can work out with the builder.
I'll talk to
doing that. Because it would be great to have the extra. It would be great to have the extra space.
And I don't have a lot of money, but if I invest what little I have, could I have a little share in it? Or would you prefer me as a salaried sort of employee?
Think about it, but right now I think as a salaried employee, because I have another business investor already, a major investor.
Okay, fair enough.
But he'll think about that, and he'll actually say it might even be better off for you financially to be an employee.
Yes, it probably would be. I've got no interest in management, I'll be honest. I'll manage the beer. I won't manage anything else.
Well, there'll be a little more work to it than that, because you will have to set up, with people who are on the trading routes and find out where to get the right drinks and stuff like that.
I already know that.
Probably know a lot of that already. And obviously, it probably doesn't need to be said, but just in case, the majority of their customers since it's going to be in Red Gill, the majority of the customers are probably going to be human and sailors. So you also have to know where to get the bad stuff from, because you don't want to waste the good stuff on them. Or not necessarily the bad stuff, but the weaker stuff. So,
not weaker for sailors, but the cheaper stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, the cheap grogs and things like that. He has full confidence that you can handle this. And he has full confidence that by the end of the auction, one way or another, he will have the property that he's seeking.
Can I, whilst I'm talking to him, I'd just like to roll an insight and see if I think he's just being totally up. That's my impression. He's up front, but...
Sure, give me an insight check.
23.
You get the impression that, one, he's telling you the truth, that he's maybe being a little conniving, but he doesn't seem to be into anything, so to speak, maybe nothing illegal. Everything he said to you seems to be the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You will notice with the 23 that he has skirted around a little bit. Again, not that he's lied to you, but that maybe he's not told you some details about some certain things. But they don't seem to be things that would involve you directly. It's his own business, and he's keeping it to himself.
Okay, then apart from that, I'll just negotiate for the best wage. I've got a lot of experience. I know my beers, etc. I've got a lot of contacts. I need a good salary.
I won't do it now, but I can actually look that up at some point. He will. This might be a deal breaker. but he will say that for the first maybe 3 months, wages will not be extremely high, but that's also going to be the building time period when the place is being built and everything. And definitely once the wharf is up and more sailors are coming in, he would expect to go up maybe even as much as double, if not triple. A lot of people really are expecting this to be a cash cow. Once the wharfs go in and the ships are worse, you don't get paid, you walk away, you find something else to do. But
Right.
hopefully, Fletch will say, hopefully this will work out for everybody.
Right. I thank him for his offer and head on down towards Red Gill.
Okay. For anyone catching up, the guild has been contracted to be security for a land auction at what was once the site of the fishing village of Red Gill, which has been devastated. And it's about a day out from that now. Stoic, the dwarf, set out a few days ago because he wanted to travel by land, and it takes about 3 days by land there. The guild has a ship with some sailors on it, which will take about 12 hours. Does anybody want to do anything else before leaving? Okay. Well, you guys will set out on board the junker ship the night before. It's not the most comfortable ships to be sailing in, but hey, it was pretty much free and claimed by a certain elf for the guild. And it'll like I said, it'll take about 12 hours, so you guys will be on the river overnight. You'll get near Illumina the next morning, maybe an hour after sunrise, and Dink. Stoic will arrive about the same time and see the junker pulling up too far from shore. Unfortunately, there's not a dock here anymore. There was one, but it's been destroyed. So you'll have to take a rowboat from the guild ship. And when you guys have arrived, you find out in the river are 4 rather large sailing ships at anchor. These are merchant ships. You'll also see that I'll show my little map drawing I did in a little bit when I give more away. You'll also see inland a little bit, about 100 feet from the shoreline, has been built. That's about 3 feet off the ground, and there are a couple of tables on this platform. Already are not specifically at the auction site, but 100 yards from the village, sort of off in woods and near the swampy area, there are quite a few tents, maybe 20 or so tents back there, where people arrived a day or two before and for the auction to commence.
Once Arrows lands on the area of Red Gill,
yes,
he'll be looking for the monument to the hero of Red Gill, so he can place a bit of fish net upon it.
Okay, it's there, and you'll also notice while you're doing that the area the graves were dug for those who died. A fence has been put around that now, and there's a little marker there on a post. And Not all, but much of the debris that was from the destroyed village has been removed. Probably been used for campfires back where the tents are, and some of it's just been thrown over into the woods out of the way or whatever. It's gone, and it's just cleared relatively flat land. There's a slight slope down by the beach side, but otherwise it's the remains of the dock that had been busted up, that is still sticking out into the water, but maybe that are still there whole. Maybe that can be fixed up or replaced.
All right. Arrows also, after he lays the net there, he'll reach down into his pouch and pull out a conch shell. And he's
God!
He's going to blow on the conch shell, and giving honor to the hero of Red Gill.
Give me a performance.
Was Ewan around when he said that conch is a call to war?
I think he was. Yeah. But he's going to do it anyway.
Performance.
Yeah.
Where is it? There it is. Okay. I rolled an 8, but I got a 7 on performance.
So, as he does that, Zadok, I would imagine, would hear this, and he's going to run out on deck and kind of bring his flail and his shield out, screaming and hollering, ready to fight. Where are they? I'm going to kill them all. Where are they?
Like Nicholas is having let me see.
And so once he realizes that there's no enemies around, he's just going to kind of hang his head low and walk over towards where he heard the noise come from. You ought not do that. Makes me very upset.
It's giving honor to this great hero.
Oh, I thought you were
from
telling
the
me there was
seashells
enemies.
himself.
Oh, I thought there was enemies somewhere nearby. Thought you needed me to kill
There's
something.
Enemies all around us, but that's what I was doing. He enjoyed that battle cry so much. It's honor for him. And Eros will put the conch shell back in his pouch.
What was your roll on the conch shell again?
It ended up being a 7.
Okay.
I rolled an 8. I got a -1.
Okay. You didn't do a real good job. It didn't sound really anything like the war cries you heard from the Kuatoa.
That's all right, but it's the heartfelt that counts.
And also climbing off the boat with you guys is Theron, the half-elf rogue, has made his appearance. Guys are the security for auction at the former village of Red Gill. And the dwarven... The dwarf Stoic did not travel by boat with you guys. He came by land like a sensible dwarf would do. But he has arrived about the same time you guys have. And I described there are out in the river, and once they see the guild has landed, the ships will start lowering rowboats. A good number of rowboats, actually. And some of the people from the tents will start making their way forwards. And at the platform that is in the middle of the mix, like I said, it's about 3 feet off the ground. There are a couple of tables up there, and with chairs behind them. And at these tables, there's one main long table, and behind it are 3 dressed in long black robes. To one side, and there are a couple of older men there. They're not dressed in robes, but they are dressed pretty nice. And one of the men in robes will stand up upon seeing you all and will walk down. There's steps built on either side of this long platform. He will walk down one side, then we'll approach and say, "Are you gentlemen from the Adventurers Guild?"
That's the truth. Now just speak.
I am
Now,
he kind of looks at the half-orc sideways, but he's like, "Well, I am Carter Louds with Blankenship and Louds. We're in charge of the auction. Since you were in charge of security, you can set up however you wish." He points to the long table up on the platform, and he says, "I'll be calling the auction from there, and will be aided by two of my companions. And behind us are a couple of representatives of banks, and they are here to look over any legal papers and things like that to make sure everything is on the up and up as far as that goes. You are really here just to make sure that no trouble breaks out, which there shouldn't be. Here today will be towards the upper crust of society, so hopefully there won't be any trouble amongst them today."
Have the banks brought money, in coin, or just promissory notes with them? Do they need protection? Have they brought their own protection?
I've seen a handful of personal bodyguards, so that is up to them. Your job is mainly to protect.
They're not part of our remit, then.
They are not.
Okay.
Your job is, one, to protect us up on the stage. Two, in case something untoward does happen, like we discover a forgery or something like that, or there's some kind of underhanding dealings, you would be expected to grab the individuals involved and to hold them until we could take them back to follow through with them.
And just it's basically protecting people, you lot, and do we have to protect the goods that are being auctioned?
It's mostly paperwork, so that idea. I mean, it's mostly land deeds and things like that we have on our end, but then later we'll probably be getting promissory notes and things like that. So yes, it would be greatly appreciated if you would help to watch over those things too. But again, we're not expecting any trouble like that. But
it's not. There's not vast amounts of sort of jewelry or anything that's very easy to steal. It's more deeds that could be rewritten if they're stolen.
Now, some of the people who will be here, they might be wearing expensive jewelry and things. To be crass or unfeeling about it, but if they should get robbed of their belongings while they are here, that's really none of our concern. That's their business. And you are not expected to get involved unless you want to for whatever reasons. But you need to keep in mind that the auctions protection needs to come first.
So it's to protect you lot and from if sort of arguments break out during the auctioning process and things like that.
all right.
Exactly.
So I've got the auctioneer. You guys can handle the rest, right? And he kind of nods. Says, "All right, let's go." And he starts to walk up towards the table. Kind of grabs a seat if he can and puts it down behind the seat where he said he was going to sit.
Okay. Carter Louds will point out one other thing, just to make clear that we're kind of on shaky legal ground here as far as you lot are concerned. There is no law and order here. There is no lord that's in charge of these lands. There is no local militia, no military. There is no local policing force. You people are
Arrows
it.
to go. Excuse me, sir. There is law and order here. As long as we, the guild, stand here with the intent of righteousness and law, minor order, love chaos, but minor order. There's law and order here.
Okay, good. That's what we want to hear, and is one of the reasons we contracted with the guild. We wanted someone out of Illumina, because even though there's not law here, we as an enterprise, as an auctioneering house, are still protected by the laws. And our legal documents are protected by the laws of Illumina. So anyone who tries to break laws, they are breaking the laws of Illumina. But again, hopefully nothing that unfortunate will happen today.
The guild just got me. I was just trying to make some coin and get some glory for myself, you know. And lucky for you, you got me. This secret weapon.
Good, good. Your demeanor alone might be enough to cause anyone from doing anything untoward today. And he will return back, climb back up in the to sit down with his work companions. And the people from the tents, you'll notice, and there's people arriving on boats. A lot of them are very well dressed, but they're dressed for weather. It is, unfortunately, a dark, cloudy day. It's not raining, but it almost looks like it could start storming. There's like barely any hint of sun at all in the sky. And there's a good number of people coming. It looks like you would guess there's anywhere from 200 to 300. And again, most of them are wearing long coats or robes or whatever, because there is a bit of a chill in the air and it looks like there could be rain. But these people are also dressed very, very nicely. And the ones that are coming in by boat, most of the people will gather together and sit kind of on pews or pew-like chairs in front of a form.
Still messed up.
But there will be a few little groups that are kind of standing off to one side, and I'll go over those to some extent. The rowboats that come in get pulled up to shore. There will be about a dozen sailors that just kind of hang out around there. And they don't seem to be paying much attention to the auction. They're smoking pipes and talking to themselves. Tough, burly-looking kind of guys. They all have cutlasses, either in a scabbard or stuffed in their belt. But they don't look like they're intent on causing any trouble here. And with them are six or sort of stereotypical ship captains. They've got long coats on, tall buckled boots, big hats, and each of those are carrying either a saber or a cutlass. But they kind of move away somewhat from the sailors to themselves, and they definitely seem to be interested in what's going on with the at the platform. Now, mixed in, the largest group are those who are sitting down in front of the platform. And again, you would guesstimate 300 of them. And mixed here and there are maybe about a dozen bodyguard types. You see different guys, like big burly guys with big swords, and they're wearing chainmail or scale mail or something like that. There are also a couple of other groups. One group is young men. There's 6 of them. They're young men, very well dressed, foppishly dressed, in bright yellow, pink, blues, reds, jackets with their sleeves cut to show the inside of their silk shirts. They're all carrying rapiers. They have big hats folded up on one side. We're sticking out. And upon...
Arrows will step on his tippy toes looking out there and at him with his hands up over his eyebrows like that and say, Jose, is that you out there with your brothers?
Yes, it is, in fact. He will turn and look at you, and he kind of gives a nod of his hat, and he says, I see Senor Store was not man enough to be here today. He must have known of my arrival.
Nah, he's just betting your mother.
What?
Oh, did I say that out loud? Did I use my outdoor voice for that? No, he's just back in Illumina taking care of some old, unfertile ground that needed plowing.
Good elf. You could be added to my list. I might even have to move you above Store.
Watch that finger. It's dangerous.
Well, I would hope if we came to blows that you would be more of a gentleman than Store, and you wouldn't have to wear heavy armor and have weapons that are 20 feet long. Fight like a gentleman.
No, I'd definitely fight like a gentleman there, Pousse. Don't worry about it, Mr. Fruity Poots.
I sneak up to behind him and say, are you causing a disturbance here?
He will turn and look at you, as will his 5 friends. Say, no, we're not just causing a disturbance. We're simply having a discussion with the elf up there on the stage. Are you wanting us to cause a disturbance?
And
No,
Stoic
that
will go
just makes more work for me.
And Stoic will go up behind Aros and say, are you causing a disturbance here?
And Eros will look back at Stoic and wink and say, out there to Pousse and those around him, no, don't worry about him. He's no problem. He's a good friend of Store's, the Saviors.
And now, side of the platform from Le Pousse and his friends, coming from the woods is a group. There's 12 of them, and they're mostly elves. There's a couple of half elves and a human, but they're mostly elves, and they're dressed in leather armors. Most of them have bows, though there is one elf who's dressed in like long robes. Elves, you will know right off the bat that these elves that are coming, one, they're all wood elves. For elves, they're quite young. And right smack dab in front of them is a halfling. And this halfling's wearing leather armor, and on his belt is a short sword and a hand axe, and he's wearing a little green hat with a red... Now keep in mind, I said halfling. They come forwards fairly near the platform.
Oh, is that Big Danky Doodle?
My attention is now turned to the group of wood elves that just appear.
The halfling will step forward, and he looks at Eros, and he points at you, and he goes, "That's right. I'm back, bitches. I've got friends."
I thought that was you, Claude.
Oh.
You killed me. I was in a bag, and you hit me with something.
I turn to Stoic and I say, well, you don't have to worry about him besmirching your race now because he changed his race.
Not on purpose. My druid friend here, and he points to the elfin robes, he goes, he rose me from the dead, and I came out like this. As much as I used to, but
I go up to him, I shake his hand and say, my commiserations. You were one of the worst dwarves I've ever met, but I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
And he's like, why, thank you. He goes,
I would. I say it's just justice that you got what you got. Yeah.
well,
Tree,
I wish I had.
Yeah,
I wish I had come back as an elf, but unfortunately that didn't happen, and this is almost as good.
Yeah, well, apparently your actions with the whale is what destroyed this village in the first place.
And did the elves not tell you you came back 3 times as an elf, and they killed you each time, not wanting to besmirch the elven name with your presence either?
Actually, when you say that, even the elves kind of snicker and look at one another. And the one young elf who's dressed in robes, he will step forward and his hands are kind of crossed, and he's like, well, despite the zeal of here, we have come here for peaceful purposes. We are trying to look into this auction to see if we can afford to purchase some of the land. If we can buy all of it, that would be fantastic, because we would like to turn it into a nature preserve. But if we cannot purchase all of the land, we will see what we can do. But we come here in peace, and we will leave in peace. Here merely for to take part in the auction. And at that, Claude will point up and say, that's right, guys, I've got a group now. Allies needing animal liberation.
Anal.
Well, that's a very cute acronym you got there, guys.
That's right. We're anal. And anytime you want to be in anal, just let me know, and we'll make sure you're there. And they will kind of.
I'll invite. I'll invite. What's your name? What's the half orc's name? Zorik.
Zydek.
Zydak. I'll invite Zydak over to have to eat some steak in front of the
halfling is just
in front of the halfling.
Down like if he could, he would.
I'll pull the leader of that group aside to talk to him elf to elf.
Okay.
Zydek will go down and have some steak.
I'm going to follow him to see if I can learn anything from their conversation.
Just let you know that whoever he deems have crossed him, he will just kill them outright. So if his actions come across our path, if you stand beside him, we'd have to treat you as the same. Just give me a heads up.
And he'll say back to you, he's like, oh, we fully understand. It is fruity as a bug. I understand that. But he does have certain skills and certain talents that
he
find of
controlled,
interest in
I heard he controlled a whole pod of whales, so yeah, he definitely has talents. Of course, because of that, the Kuotoa attacked this village because all the whales weren't there for them to hunt.
My hope, just so you know, my hope is that I can actions and forge them along a more peaceful path.
Yeah, and heads up, if you want to buy the whole area, just to know, about an hour out, there's Atoa City about an hour out, full of them, and they're not too happy with landwalkers right now. So, yeah.
Well, if we could turn this into a preserve, once there were just trees and animals, hopefully they wouldn't have much reason to
Or they'll
cause
just
trouble.
hunt all your or they'll just hunt and kill all your animals.
They may, and then we would have to deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If this land is bought by others, it will become just another town or just another city. And
Yeah. Well, rumors is the guild's planning to put a building here to keep watch and try and keep things orderly.
well, hopefully that will help the situation. I thank you for your warning, and it will not come to us having to cross weapons. I fervently believe that it will not come to that. If Claude should get out of hand, we would hope to deal with him ourselves before it would get.
I may be in a martial guild, but I prefer the path of least bloodshed.
Well, good. Let's see. Come on now.
Iron Skull, that was the best damn steak I've ever had in my life.
Do
Now,
we
if you
still
choose
see the
younger
blood
dog,
running
dude.
down the sides of your mouth?
Yeah, probably.
Take that, Claude.
He just kind of glares at you guys, and you hear a growl low in the back of his throat. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just very hastily slapped that together.
I just
I don't see a map. I see the program. I just don't see the map.
I see the great background.
Well, I'm going to try to. Well, I'll stop sharing for a second. Okay.
After finishing the steak, I'll go up back to my seat behind the auctioneer. Sit back down.
People keep sending me messages on Facebook, and that's messing me up for some reason, and I'm trying to ignore them. Maybe I'll just turn off Facebook. Hate to do that, but
The downsides of being popular.
yeah, I guess. Where's a JPEG? Yeah, I should have done all this earlier in the day, and of course I didn't. So. Come on. Okay, now let me try this again. Now do you guys see my little rough map?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Clear.
Beautiful.
so basically the blue, yeah, you couldn't tell I ever did graphic design work before, could you?
Oh, it's beautiful.
maybe USA Today will use this. Obviously, at the bottom is the sea, and over to the right is the river, and the big brown thing is the land. This is pretty much the crowd of 200 to 300 rich people with a few bodyguards. This is the big platform that's up 3 feet off the ground. This is the table where the auctioneer and his companions will be at. This is the smaller table where the couple of bankers will be. Claude, the halfling, and his elven friends are over here. Le Poussey and his friends have come down here. The ship captains, and over here where these Robarts are pretty much where the dozen sailors are hanging out. And there are here and there sprinkled about a few individuals on their own, just sort of watching proceedings. And roughly, by my really straight line and arrow, roughly from here to about there, 100 feet.
Arrows will place himself up on the banker's table, between himself and Claude and friends, and Le Poussey and friends, right on that kind of corner there, to keep an eye on both of them.
I'm going to stand on the opposite side of the stage towards the ship captains, just so I can keep an eye on them and the sailors, just in case anything goes out of hand.
I'm going to stand back in between the elves and the rich dude.
Okay. So you're kind of over there with arrows.
And I'll probably be over by with Zydak.
Okay.
But scanning the crowd of rich dudes to see if I notice anyone who is seems to be waiting for something.
We should have someone watch the water in case something decides to pop out.
Yep, you should. As you say that.
Well, up on the platform, you do have a pretty good view of the water. If that's good enough for you.
Yeah. Just casually glancing back to the water to see if there's any bubbles or something rising out of it.
And about the time you guys are getting yourself set up, keep in mind there are 4 rather large ships out in the river. And there's occasionally some other little river traffic that goes by. But about the time you guys are setting up, coming from the north along a path, for those of you who know him, you will see Fletch, half-work pal Snog. They will come down to the front of the crowd and find a spot in the pew sitting right over here, not too far from the ship captains. And they will sit and kind of looking around at everybody, like keeping a watch, but Fletch will kind of give each of you guys sort of a nod. And at one point, Carter Louds will sort of whisper to you guys. He'll say, "In the auction now? Are you in place?"
I'm ready. I don't know about the other guys.
Kind of looks over and elbows Iron Skull in the ribs a little bit too roughly.
Iron Skull winces and sort of coughs and says, "I was born ready, but I might actually. I'll go mingle," and goes into the crowd of hundreds, takes a sort of central position. So he's within about 40, 50 feet of the stage, and somewhere where he can see the stage and see everybody in the audience.
In the audience, like I said, there's about a dozen sort of bodyguard types, and a few of them will kind of give you the eye, but they don't seem really overly worried about it. I mean, they know what you're there for, so you've got a job to do, and they've got a job to do. And with that, I won't go through all the formalities, but Carter Louds will bang a gavel, and the get underway after he reads off all kinds of information about how to pay and this and that and how the auction is going to work. And he has a letter from the city of Illumina to, those who are here and blah, 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 blah. Boring Chamber of Commerce kind of stuff for the most part. And then the auction will start, and they begin with the lands that are out on the shore.
While all this is going on, Alan's just going to keep scanning the crowd, see if trying to make sure there aren't any pickpocketers in the crowd.
Give me a perception or investigation check.
25.
No, you don't see anything like that going on. In fact, you can tell most of the wealthy people here are at least somewhat smart. What nice jewelry they have, they seem to have tucked away under their robes or clothes or whatever. You don't see a lot of flashy rings and things like that. Seen anything like a pickpocket going through. In fact, of all the people here,
no one's trying to hide a weapon or anything.
No, you're not seeing anything like that. I mean, there's weapons, but they're not really.
Well, I know there's weapons. I'm just saying there's not someone trying to hold back. No, they have like something, like a dagger or something.
No, you're not seeing anything like that. In fact, honestly, for the most part, you guild members are probably, other than the sailors, are probably about the roughest looking crew here, because most of the people are fairly well dressed. And wealthy, of course. But like I was saying, the lands going for auction are the ones on the shoreline first. And the ship captains up here are definitely interested in that and keep bidding higher. They seem to have come together, are working together. So one of them is doing the bidding while the others sort of talk to him. Le Poussey actually a few times bids on land that's shore, and a few people from the central portion here and there put up.
Are the lands marked out with indicators saying this is a lot?
The lands, I forgot to mention this earlier. The actual lands are not marked off, but there is a map up on a posts back here behind the platform. It's a rather large map, and the map does show where the lands have been marked off.
So there's lot A, lot B, and all that on the map.
Yeah, except they've got them numbered in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are actually, well, since you mentioned land being marked, there are posts in the ground, but they've been driven all the way into the ground. There aren't like little flags or ropes or anything like that up. Can tell if you went out and walked and looked, you could tell where the particular lands are. But there are 6. The actual village would be bigger than what I've drawn here, and altogether there are 6 properties along the front. And when this part of the auction seems to be going pretty fast and pretty smooth, and when it finishes, the group of ship captains over here get the biggest lot. They get they get all 6 pieces of land along the shore, and they seem quite pleased with it. And one of them will come up, and after the auction has been settled, and he'll kind of nod to you gentlemen, and he makes his way to the back table here where the bankers are, and all of that land together ended up costing it. The auction went up to 30,000 gold pieces. Appear to this table with multiple sheets of paper, basically paying with all checks, but they're more or less promissory notes that the money can be pulled from various banks within Illumina. And that takes maybe 10 minutes to kind of get through all that, and then he goes back over. And the next auction is for one piece of land. It's plot number 7, and it's kind of where you guys are. It's inland a little bit, sort of in this corner here, and from it you can sort of see in all directions, so it would be a good piece of land to have. And he starts the auctions off on that with another bang of the gavel. Le Poussey actually bids on it. And at one point down here, Fletch even raises a hand and bids at about the 1,000 gold piece mark. But then he stops as other people in the crowd and Le Poussey keep bidding higher and higher. Eventually, when the auction... This piece of land goes for about 5,000 gold to Le Poussey. Thrilled and starts to approach the table. And at that point, you who notice, I won't make you make rolls. Some will notice it, some won't. At that point, as Le Poussey is approaching the table, Fletch looks over at his friend Snog and he nods. The half-orc will stand up, and he approaches the ship's captains, and he starts speaking with them. The ship's captains do not look very pleased. And a couple of voices are even raised a little bit. You'll hear somebody say, "What is this?" And you'll hear another one say something about blackmail. Fletch will stand up, and he walks up to the table. And he doesn't even bother.
Arrows will pull his bow off his shoulder and notch an arrow.
He'll look up at you and
be just scanning the whole area, not any one particular.
Okay.
But his mind does trickle over to Le Poussey and Claude always.
Well, Poussey has come up, so he's like right next to you almost now because he's at the table with the bankers. And Fletch squeezes his way up there, and then he reaches inside his cloak, and he pulls out a folded up sheet of paper with a wax seal on it, and he sort of slaps it down on the table in front of the bankers and in front of Le Poussey. And again, you hear somebody say, "What is this?" And then they all kind of bend over and they're sort of whispering among themselves. And I believe Aylwin were on that end, so if they really want to hear, they probably could.
I'll try and hear, but try and keep an eye on Claude.
And Stoic's making his way over towards the sea captains to see what they're unhappy about.
I will say Stoic realizes they're unhappy and they're mad, but they're not like, at least not yet, they're not drawing weapons mad. And
I'll be asking them what they're unhappy about. That's my sort of intention.
Notice as you come up, Snog is trying to like talk them down. One of them will point towards Fletch and basically say, "That bastard has just cost us 30,000 gold." For anybody who's hearing, say the captains will kind of tell Stoic while the rest of you up on the platform hear what's going on. Fletch has purchased the fishing rights along the coast, and he purchased those in Illumina. Those fishing rights were not part of this auction. This was just a land auction. Who was a fisherman and dead in Red Gill, those fishing rights were just sitting there. Bought them for 50 gold pieces. Well, the problem with that is that under Illumina law, anyone who holds the fishing rights, which piece of ocean extending out 1 mile from the shore. Anyone who owns the fishing rights, approval first before any kind of dock or wharf can be built out into the waters from the shore. Basically, is happening is Fletch, he will not give permission for any wharf to be built along the shore since he owns the fishing rights, unless the piece of property that Le Poussey just purchased for 5,000 gold. Now, here's kind of the catch of the whole deal, is if no wharf can be built along the shore, then there's no money to be made. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, speaking what Fletch is doing is legal. Whether it's ethical or not, that's up to each individual to decide. And Le Poussey is quite upset by this because he is in a situation where he either has to give up this piece of land he just bought for 5,000 gold pieces, but if he keeps the land, allow the wharf to be built, he's still wasted the 5,000 on a piece of property that will now mean nothing, pretty much. And he's growing quite heated with Fletch, and sees that Fletch wears a rapier, so it's getting to the point where he's challenging Fletch to maybe they can settle these things like gentlemen among themselves.
At this point, I'll stand up and kind of put my hands in between the two of them, kind of push them back, separate them.
Why don't you just split it? Why don't you just split the land, you two?
Fletch has no Fletch is not being belligerent at all. He will step away, but he'll look up at you and say, "Why should I?"
Arrows will say and suggest, let's get on with the auction, and after the auction, just have a duel, a gentlemanly duel, and the winner takes all on the land.
It's like I would agree to that. That Fletch just kind of shrugs his shoulders, like, I can do that. That doesn't have a problem with me. And I need everyone to make perception rolls. Some things you're going to notice even without the perception roll. Caius will notice one thing, at least. All of you hear a great blaring sound coming from the ocean that sounds like what a conch shell really should sound like. And it's really big and loud. And then from the ship, one of the ships, you hear, "Ahoy! There on the land! There's something in the water." And those who got like a 12 and higher ocean or out to the sea, you definitely notice there is something about 40 or 50 feet out in the water. There's a lot of water swirling around out there. And when I say a lot of water, I mean a lot of water, like all up and down the shoreline on the seaside.
I nudged to the elf group saying, this is what I was talking about earlier.
They start getting bows out and arrows and say, well, then we will defend the land to the last elf.
I quickly grab my flail and not elbow Fletch. We'll deal with this later. You've won for now, but we'll discuss it more later.
He's okay. He turns and looks out to the ocean, and he goes, "Oh shit!" And then he takes his own bow out. And you do notice people in the crowd are starting to notice something going on out in the ocean, and there's a few cries of, "Oh no, what is that?" And people are starting to panic a little bit.
Immediately, the orc will shout out, "People, carefully and orderly move yourselves behind the platform."
You know what? Give me a roll on that. I'm going to guess intimidation, but you can use persuasion if you want to.
It's going to be a 14.
Actually, that's no problem. Most people look at you and are like, "Oh, yep, that's a good idea. Let's all do that."
I make my way towards the shore.
Oh, yeah, with your movement, you're basically there. Start doing that. They start getting up, and they're fairly orderly. A few are still panicking, but not for the most part. They start moving around behind the platform, back where the map was, and the various bodyguards kind of help with that. They kind of steer their own people and some of the others in the right direction. And out in the ocean, it's about 30 feet out from the shore, and fish-like and frog-like heads appear, and there's a lot of them. I mean, there's a lot of them. Like those of you who went down to the Kuatoa City and saw the army they had there of about 100 creatures, it looks like they're all here. And some of them are shouting things. Understands what they're saying.
Eros will shout back at him in Undercommon. Remember the sting of my bow and the power of my arm for slaying your god. And now, remember, it was my bow that did that.
And one of them will scream back, "Kill the false gods. Slay all of them. The blasphemers who took our God from us."
As soon as
to attack everybody.
As soon as Eros hears that, that's who he's going to target with his arrow.
Okay. Everybody go ahead and roll for initiatives.
How far out did they surface?
About 30 feet from the shore.
Okay.
Well, I probably won't hit for the rest of the game, so I got a crit on my initiative. That's just the way it works usually, 90% of the time.
So let's see. Theron got... Aylwin got a 19. Stoic got a 4. And still doesn't go last, technically speaking. He's got a 21. Let's see. And our half orc got a 20. Is it? Okay, I'll basically say it's the top of a round, and Eros, you get to go first. They're about 130 feet out from the platform where you're at.
Oh, easy shots.
Well, depends on who you're shooting at.
Well, I already said I'm shooting at the one that was hollering false guides and trying to stir them on up. The first arrow will be a unnatural 20 to hit.
Hit.
And the second arrow will be a 14 to hit.
Okay, that'll hit.
Okay. And damage on the first arrow is 13
Okay.
points. And on the second arrow, he'll use Colossal Slayer. And that will be a 13 also on that one.
Okay.
So 26 total.
Okay, you stuck him twice with arrows. He's still standing. Next up, Zydik, it's your turn.
Oh, I gotta mark that.
Zydik rushes forward hastily. He's going to do a dash action to get as far out as he can.
Okay. I'll just remind you that they are 30 feet out in the water, which would slow you down, and there's 100 of them. That may not matter to you, but...
Well, I can only go 30 feet, so that's only going to be a 60-foot move with a dash action, so I won't even be out in the water yet.
Okay. But you'll still be a little ways from them then. Okay, Aelwyn, it's your turn, and you were pretty much at the water's edge.
I'm just going to uncap my darts and throw one.
Okay. Anybody in particular, or just the closest one?
Yeah, just one I think I have a good shot on.
Okay.
And I hit for a 17.
That will hit.
Five.
Hey, 5 nails, 5 less you got to do later.
Yeah.
And now let's see. I'm going to try to do this again. Okay, can you guys see the map again?
Yep.
Okay. Over here on the right-hand side, this crowd is pretty much gone now, and the monsters are from this shore. But over here, the ship's captains, the 6 of them, and the dozen sailors, they have reached into their rowboats, and some of them are taking out crossbows and are kneeling down next to the bows and are shooting arrows into the Kuatoa. And the ship captains have drawn their swords, and some of their men are actually charging down through here along the shore towards the Kuatoa. And they can't get to them, of course, but they're definitely moving closer. They do not seem to be afraid of facing off with these creatures. And surprisingly, over here, Le Poussey has jumped down from the table. His friends, and all of them draw their swords out and raise them to the sky and say, "For Illumina!" And they rush down, you Aelwyn, ready to the Kuatoa. And now it is the Kuatoa's turn. As they come forward, they're fighting. Some of them are over here fighting Le Poussey and his people. Some of them are over here fighting the ship captains and the sailors. And so far on either side, it seems to be about a stalemate. In the middle, they're going to come up to you, Aelwyn, and they're using spears two-handed, and they're going to try to poke at you. That'll be a miss. And does a 16 hit Aelwyn?
It just hits. I have a 16 AC, so.
You take 4 points of damage then, as one.
Does any of them try to throw their spears?
No, they're not throwing. They're just jabbing with two hands. And in the middle of the Kuatoa, they all come up to the shoreline, and they're kind of stopped here by all the different fighting that's going on. Even though they've got everybody outnumbered, it's enough to slow them down. One of them, the one that shot, he needs to make. Okay, he made it. He raises a hand and casts a spell. Eros, I need you to make a wisdom save.
Okay, that's a 20 on the dice and
you're fine.
Extra 3, so 23.
You are actually fine. For just a second, you feel like you can't move, almost like you're frozen, and you're fine after that. And now Fletch starts shooting arrows. He's just kind of shooting into the crowd of Kuatoa. And Snog will run up to the platform, and he takes out a hand crossbow, and he starts shooting crossbow bolts into the Kuatoa. Point Fletch will look over at Eros after he sees Eros's arrows and how much damage they did, and he will be like, "Damn, you're making me look bad." And the crowd with the bodyguards has pretty much made their way back behind the platform now. The bodyguards there are working together. They have kind of formed a line as a last defense. Their people. And now it is Theron's turn.
Whose?
All right, sorry about that.
I thought Nicholas was with us.
I'm gonna move closer to the water and shoot the closest Kuatoa I can with my short bow.
Okay, give me a roll to hit. You'll still be about 70 feet from them, but
I got a 12.
Believe it or not, that will hit.
Oh,
They have pretty low ACs.
that is a 1.
Well, that's better than nothing.
It is better than nothing.
You don't get any kind of bonus for your dexterity?
Oh, I forgot about that. Oops. That'd be a 3 then.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm thinking you're a rogue. You would have to have like the worst dexterity a rogue's ever had.
What is Theron? Can you just describe what we see?
When you look at Theron, you see like kind of young for an elf, but not really. Like he's almost on the cusp of middle age. Long braided hair, very sullen expression on his face. Always kind of seems kind of down in the dumps, but he's not really. That's just how he looks.
Okay.
Okay.
Now be your turn.
So stoic, muttering words of power as he sort of stumbles after the others on his short legs, summons up a spiritual wine bottle in a fist. And makes his way down towards the Kuatoa. I'll just check the distance on spiritual weapon, but I don't think I can get within range yet.
Well, they're at the shoreline, and you were already halfway down. So if move,
I moved back. I moved down to the sea captains, and you said the sea captains.
Oh, that's right.
Were involved in combat already.
Yeah, they ran off. Be probably 70 feet roughly from them once you moved closer.
So I'll move up. I'll move up to within 70 feet. conjure forth this spiritual bottle of wine, and just my own readied action will be to attack anything if it actually closes within range of me.
Your range with that?
The spiritual weapon, or what?
Yeah, the spiritual weapon.
It's 60 feet ahead of me at the moment.
It's not quite to them then.
No.
Okay. And last but not least, Claude and his elf friends get to go, and are just goes into the Kuatoa. And actually, a few of the Kuatoa go down because of it. The one in long robes, the one elf that was in long robes, he suddenly changes into a grizzly bear and starts charging at the Kuatoa. And believe it or not, even poor little Claude, hand axe in one hand, his short sword in the other, and he screams dwarf power, and then he takes off running at the Kuatoa, though it'll take him a little bit to get there. We're back to the top of the round, and Eros, it's your turn. Gosh, that's a lot to get through.
All right, Eros is, and so they move forward from 130, and the one guy that he shot arrows at, how far away is he now from arrows?
100. He's right at the shoreline.
All right, Eros will move up 10 feet, take his bonus action, and place Hunter's Mark on him. Then he'll take the -5 to hit with the sharpshooters.
Okay.
And he'll shoot 2 more arrows at this guy.
Roll to hit.
All right, that'd be a 22 with the
That'll hit.
-5 for the first, and the second will be, if I take that there, that's 7. Will be a 7. The second one looks like it misses.
But go ahead and roll your damage.
All right. So what he gets for damage with Colossal Slayer in the there, that's 10, 18, 20 points of damage.
18 damage. Okay. Behind you, yet again, you hear, damn, I should have been a ranger. I want you to roll, Charles, I want you to roll a D4.
D4? Okay.
Yes.
It's going to be too much fun. Who do I hit? D4, 4.
Nobody. Your arrow that missed goes overheads into the ocean.
All right.
That's probably the first arrow you've missed in a while.
Yeah.
It almost turned out really cool.
Zydic, it's now your turn.
Is it my turn again? I'm sorry.
And there are plenty of people up front fighting now, so you wouldn't be alone.
So I'm gonna. At this point, I'm probably another 40 feet away from anything.
What's that?
Is that an appropriate guesstimation?
Or are they just 10 feet apart? Because they move forward as well.
They did, but they're still at the shoreline.
Okay.
Okay, so guess I'm gonna dash, but only up to the water's edge.
Okay. So you're pretty much face to face with them now.
Yes, and that's going to be my turn because I dashed.
Elwin, it's your go now.
I'm just going to hit the guy that hit me.
All right, roll to hit.
Along the way, I did grab my shield from my back, though, and my flail.
Oh, that's fine.
I would have had time when those 2 rounds to do that much.
Those are pretty much free actions anymore.
Okay. 9, 11, and 17.
The second 2 hit.
That was 9 total damage.
Okay. Oh, you pounded on him. He's still standing. With a little more fishy respect. The sailors and the captains are slashing away. Wow. And they actually take down a couple of Kuatoa elves. But Pusey and his friends, they're not doing too well, so they're starting to a little bit. The Kuatoa are coming up. 2 of them are going to attack Elwin with their spears. I think a 19 will probably hit Elwin.
Yeah.
You take 6 more points of damage. And 2 of them are going to run up to our half-orc and try to jab him with spears. 18 hit, Zydek?
18 does hit me.
Would miss then. So 2 of them try to hit you with. That's right. You've got a shield. Their spears, shield, and from the back, Fletch and Snog are still shooting arrows. The guards and the crowd of rich people are standing their ground. Now it's Theron's turn again. You might be muted. Or Theron might not be there. Nick? Okay, Stoic, you go ahead.
Stoic continues marching down to, now he's 50 feet away from the shoreline. He's closed down the distance, half the distance. But his spiritual
weapon
has closed down on one of the Koatoa that's on the half-orc, and this bottle swings out and shatters but does no damage. I'm guessing it's an AC of 13.
No, that will hit.
That hits the Koatoa. Okay. So this spiritual bottle bites into it for 11 points damage.
Wow. He's still standing, but it hit him pretty hard. And I'll go back up.
So that was a bonus action. And as my main action, I've closed down to within... he's still standing, you say?
Yes.
So then another Stoic holding up the red bands around his waistcoat, round his wrists, calls down the tiring endurance and uses his sacred flame basically, and
okay, on the same one.
DC 13 dex save.
Take it.
So he's hit for another 1 point damage.
He's singed, but he's still barely hanging in there. And I'll go back up to Zydic. Theron.
Right? No,
I'm
Theron.
just-
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. You're right.
That's okay.
At point where I'm at, am I close enough to any Kuatoa to hit him with a sword? Or
You
anything?
can be.
All right.
Be up to you. You've been running, so.
All right, I'm going to run up to them, and I will attack them with a rapier.
Okay. Give me a chance to hit then.
10.
That will just miss.
Aw.
Did you... It's a finesse weapon, so did you add your dexterity to hit?
Oh, no, then it'd be 12. Sweet. 6.
Okay.
Plus finesse.
Or plus your dexterity bonus.
Okay, so that'd be 8.
Okay. And let me see. Okay, you've hit him, and there's so much action and stuff moving around, and there's so many other people up there that are fighting on your side, even if they're not necessarily your fellow guild members, that I'm going to go ahead and since you're a rogue, let you have your D6 for
Sneak attack?
your sneak attack.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Because like some of sailors and stuff are up there, so.
Okay, so 4 plus 2 is 6. So
Okay.
total, that is 14 points of damage.
Okay.
I don't think you add your dexterity to sneak attack. Sneak attack is just a straight add.
Oh, it's just straight?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay, so then 12.
That
It gets really
Okay.
cool at higher levels when you crit, though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
did.
it does.
I have another character. I lowered his crit range to 19 or 20, and that made me happy.
Oh yeah.
Or is it 18, 19? I don't remember.
After that, and so, okay, Claude and his friends, they're still shooting arrows. Claude runs up to fight. He's swinging his short sword around. And the grizzly bear that was an elf tears into some Kuatoas. And another Kuatoa goes down. Hey, there's only 95 of them left. Imagine that. Back to the top of the round. Eros, it's your turn.
All right. The Kuatoa I was shooting at, is he still standing? Okay. So I will take the -5 to hit him. And on my sharpshooter, let's see if I hit him. All right. That will be a 21 with the -5 on the first one.
That's a hit.
And it will be a 13 on the second one. So both hit, or?
Yes, both hit.
All right. So he'll get with Colossal Slayer on the first one. And, okay, so that's 11, 21, 23, 27 points.
Just for the first one or all together?
Just for the first one.
Okay.
And on the second one, he can't use Colossal Slayer, so that will be 10, 18, 19 points.
Okay. Ending, believe it or not, But yeah, your arrows basically just went through this guy, like all the way out the back. And at this point behind you, you hear somebody say, "Screw this!" And Fletch just throws his bow down. Zydic, now it's your turn. You're up there with a bunch of Kuatoa.
I'm gonna try and swing my my flail and hit one of these guys upside the head, I guess.
Okay.
And end up getting slowed down by a bunch of windows open.
It happens. Was that a natural 1?
I told you I wouldn't hit. Yes. You want me to make another roll?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, but probably not the kind of roll you're thinking of. Come on. Just for the fun of it. Come on. Roll percentile dice.
Got a 14.
Okay. Well, if my computer will ever cooperate, I will tell you what happens with that 14. Normally I don't do this, but I thought, oh, this is just too much fun. Roll for damage.
Oh, God. Did you see that?
No, what is it?
I rolled max, so it's 10.
Yeah.
Okay. You're swinging a flail, right?
Yes.
So you step into combat, you swing your flail, and it comes around and hits you in the face for 10 points of damage.
Okay.
Okay, you're not down, plus you're a half-orc, so that actually will help.
Maybe.
It'll help some. Do you have a bonus action or anything you want to do?
I want to scream in pain really, really loudly.
Oh, Stoic's right there.
On the plus side, there's enough confusion going on that maybe nobody saw it. Turn. And you just saw your half-orc companion step right up and just nail himself in the face with his own weapon.
Yeah, I'm still going to try and hit the guy.
In front of you? Okay.
Yeah. I got a 14.
That hits.
8 points of damage.
Okay. You've hurt him. He's still up, though.
Okay, so 15. So
That'll hit.
6 points.
And he goes down.
Okay, my bonus strike is going to be on the guy standing next to him. And that's an 11. No, that's a 21.
No, it'll hit.
Uh, 7 points.
Okay, you've hit him. He's still standing, but he's hurt quite badly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The sailors and the captains, wow. They're actually doing really well and take down several more. Pusey and his guys had pulled back some, but they're holding their own where they're at. Now the Kuatoa will go. Another one steps up, so you've got 2 on you. Elwyn. They're both going to try to stab you. Both of those are going to miss. And 2 are going to try to stab Zydic. Both of those miss. The armor and shield. Oh, geez. The one in back who's barely alive with all the arrows. Okay, he made his concentration check, and he casts a spell, and suddenly he seems to glow. There's like a thin goldish layer glowing around him. And let's see. After fighting others on the edges, one is going to take off from the crowd and is going to rush Stoic.
I'm 50 feet away.
Okay. He will be 25 feet from you. Well, he'll be 20 feet from you, and then he's going to throw his spear at you. Okay. I'm guessing, would a 14 hit Stoic?
I take it on my shield and it glances away and skitters along the floor.
So he's 20 feet from you and he doesn't have a spear anymore.
You're going to regret that, fish face.
Their action now. Fletch and Snog are still shooting arrows. Well, Snog is shooting arrows. Fletch is jumping down and pulling out his whip and rapier, stomping forward, ticked off. And at this point, back around behind the platform, bodyguards back there have decided that a good offense is a better defense, so they are running around, charging forward. They're a little slow because then they're in heavy armor with shields and swords, but they are coming to help. And now it would be Theron's turn again. Nick?
I hate this mic. All right, so I just remembered I have that +1 dagger from the last dungeon we did.
Yes.
I think it's time to test it out.
You've got a guy in front of you who's hurt pretty badly.
Okay, so I'll roll for that. Off the table. Off the table.
Finesse weapon, so you can add your dexterity to that if you want to.
Oh, I got a 19.
Oh, that'll hit.
And 4.
4 points of damage?
Oh, +1. +1 is 5.
Okay, well that's enough. Your dagger slides up through his ribs easy as anything and screams out in a foreign language for his mommy and drops back dead, spraying blood all over the place.
Just remember, there's no God where you're going.
Or not a very nice one anyway.
Nope.
Let's see. Now it would be Stoic's turn.
Stoic, as this spear skittles past him, he just changes his route slightly to try and get round this this Koatoa. He's running towards Stoic, but Stoic will the guy's unarmed and he wants to get further towards the thick of things, so he'll move 25 feet forward to hopefully now he's within 25 feet of his companions who are in combat. Okay, and the spiritual wine bottle, broken bottle, goes 20 foot towards the glowing Koatoa.
Oh, okay. Roll to hit.
Only a 15.
That actually hits, just barely.
Okay. That's 10 points damage.
Ooh. Okay. He gets cracked over the head. He's still standing.
And did he manage to? Did it affect his glowing sort of? Did it distract him? This attack.
That's a good.
That was the aim of this attack.
It did not. He's still glowing.
Damn. Okay, then I'll use my second. No, I'll use my main action to I sort of throw up a little vial of silvery water into the air, which forms a sort of mist, and this mist spreads out amongst my colleagues, giving them extra sharpness and extra strength in this combat. I've cast the Bless spell, so you get an extra D4 on your attack rolls and saving throws. That is to 3 people, so it'll affect me, Aelwyn, me, the half-orc, and Aelwyn, because I haven't fought with Aelwyn before. I've fought with Stor, hasn't I? So I'll also affect the elven archer. Therin, me, and Zydak.
Okay, so they each have a plus D4 to hit?
Yep. And on saves.
Okay.
Until my concentration drops.
Let's see. Claude and his archer friends, they're still shooting arrows. And you guys lose sight of Claude, Otoa. And back to the top of a round. Eros, it's your turn.
Eros will go ahead and take the -5 on his shots towards the guy he's been targeting. So let's see here. All right, that will be a 15 on the first one.
Go ahead and roll for damage on it. If you would.
Let's see here. We'll do, there's the Hunter's Mark and the Colossal Slayer. So we're looking at 21, 26, 6 and 5 is 11, so 31 points of damage.
You basically behead him. Your arrow goes through his neck where it explodes and his head falls off of the ruins of his neck. Arrow shot if you want to.
Yeah, I'll switch that Hunter's Mark on over to that one that Stoic's been fighting that was glowing.
Oh, no, that was one that
was him actually.
That was the one I just took down, the same one.
Yeah, same one.
All right. The next predominant one that was there, I'll move my Hunter's Mark onto, and I'll shoot at that individual. The -5, and that will be 18 plus 5 is 20. What would that be? 6, 23.
That'll hit.
And he I don't think he's been damaged, so that's no Colossal Slayer. So that's 12, 22 points of damage.
Yeah, pretty much your arrow goes through his chest and takes its heart with him.
Okay, cool. And I'll be looking to switch that on next round that hunter's mark to somebody else.
Okay.
That's all I can do.
Zydik, it's your turn.
So Zydek's going to, before he makes a swing this time, he's going to take a deep breath. And he's basically what he's doing. He's kind of shaking off the attack that he landed on himself last time. He's going to flip the flail around and grab the handle this time.
Okay. Is he healing up some?
Yeah, I'm going to roll that right now. It's going to be 1d10 plus 1. So I'll get back 6 of it.
That's not bad.
So I'll still be wounded by 4. But now I'm going to take a swing at the one that has been trying to stab me. Seems to be the better of the two. Even though neither one of them have hit me.
No, in fact, they're both thinking they should just stand back and watch you take yourself out.
That's only a 9.
That will be a miss. Hey, you got to start somewhere. Did you add a strength bonus to that?
Yep.
Aylwin, it's now your turn.
I'm just going to keep hitting the guy I was hitting.
Just going back, did he add the D4 for bless to it?
Oh, to hit? No.
Yep.
I can't use it now. It's already been determined it's a miss.
Pardon?
Did you hear me?
Yeah, it might not have been a miss, though, if you'd had an extra D4.
And you got it on every attack?
Yeah.
So that's an 11.
That would be a hit, actually.
So I deal 5 with the flail.
Okay. Now, there's a little respect in their eyes. Their big fishy eyes. And now we go to Aylwin.
19 for the first hit. 14 for the hit.
Okay.
And 22 for the third.
They all 3 will hit. The damage for the first one, though.
First one was 6.
Down.
Yeah, okay.
And your other 2 hit the one next to him.
Yeah. Together, that's 10.
Okay. No, you've heard him. And he happens to be one of the ones that was also trying to stab your half-orc. So let's see. The sailors are still fighting. Le Poussey. Oh, they're pushing back forward. Now the Kuatoa. You guys hear in the background, back of the group of Kuatoa, you hear the great big blaring sound of another conch shell going off. And at this point, start retreating. They are withdrawing from the combat back towards back into the water. Let's see. Fletch will stop where he's at, but Snog will still take a shot with his hand crossbow. Guards are still running forward. Theron, it would be your turn now. And the guys that was in front of you has backed away. Like I said, they're moving towards back into the water. if you want to attack or do anything. Darren?
Hello. I am not going to attack. I'm going to let them retreat,
Okay.
but I'm going to taunt them and say, "What? You don't want no more of this?"
And they have no idea what you're saying, but
It made me feel better.
Stoic, it would now be your turn. The one that threw a spear at you is no longer coming towards you. In fact, he's running back to grab his spear and then leaving.
The one that the half-orc injured, he'll move his spiritual wine bottle up to him and crack him over the head.
Roll to hit.
15.
That will hit.
And 6 points damage.
Okay. He goes, ouch, in his little fishy head. And let's see. Go ahead.
Is he moving away too?
Pardon?
Did that Kuatoa did move away from me as well?
Yeah, they're all backing up as a group.
So is he disengaging, or would I get an AI?
They're disengaging.
Okay.
And but as he's moving away, he'll have to make a DC 13 Dex save as another spiritual wine bottle comes flying down from the sky to crack him for 7 points damage.
Okay. It still hits him. He's still standing, but it's hurt. And
Radiant wine is cracking down on him.
I'm pretty much going to take us out of rounds at this point, unless you guys like them, which I don't know. Maybe some of you will.
I'm going to take a dart and throw it at the guy that I just hit.
Okay. Roll to hit.
11.
That will hit.
I'm going to ready my bow and shoot him.
7 points.
Okay.
Oh,
he drops, actually. I will be right back. I'm going to take a break for a minute or two.
Okay.
And you guys can do the same if you want, but I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
So Stoic's like christening the enemies over and over again.
Yeah, I like the shape of that spiritual weapon.
That is pretty cool.
Especially with the Stoic's background and whatnot, it fits so nicely. King Caius has done a nice job with that.
He does make some interesting characters.
Yeah. Because he has that brewmaster background, so. Or something like that, if I remember correctly. Which is pretty cool.
This character really isn't a fighter, if you can't tell.
I don't know. He seems to be acting like one.
For now, until he can get access to spells at level 3.
I mean, what the heck?
He's doing okay. It's just I knew when I rolled that crit on the initiative, I wasn't gonna hit shit.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, really? Like, I'd have been okay going at 0 or 1, but you know. It just happens that way sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's with Eros and him really buffed, if you want to call it that, buffed up to be a range attacker with that sharpshooter. I like getting that extra 10 points of damage for just taking 5 off the attack dice.
It's actually really good in this setup, the way things are running this in the guild here. I think in a campaign, it might be a little wonky, a little rough to use, make use of, but.
Yeah, and Fletch is like now totally jealous of Arrows because up until this point, Fletch pretty much considered himself the top archer in the guild, and Arrows has not only caught up with him but has surpassed him by far.
Well, Arrows has finally started getting up in level, and with his character, he's focused on, and that's why I took the sharpshooter feat when it came at 4th level. That he's constantly been focusing using his bow, so it made sense to migrate that way.
Even though Fletch would ever take the sharpshooter if I ever even play him again. But the monsters basically back into the ocean and swim away. If you guys want to shoot spells and arrows at them while they're fleeing, you can. Some of the other forces
the only question Arrows would have is, does he see who made that call to recall him back in to retreat?
Oh, give me a perception roll.
Well, that will be a 12.
Yeah, actually, you do. You see a little, probably one of the smallest Kuatoa you've ever seen. A little guy in the back has like a little sack made out of seaweed, and you see him stuffing and he's sort of in the back heading into the ocean.
How far away?
Roughly, let's say 120 feet. A little bit, but
then Arrows will take a parting shot at him because he blew the conch shell better than he did.
Okay. Well, he's had more practice.
It's still, and he'll take the -5, and he'll miss because that's going to make it a 7 for him.
That will miss. You going to take your second attack?
Well, yeah. All right, I will. I'll do the same -5.
I know we're not in rounds, but still.
And I don't know. I might make it with that one. It's hard to say. A 12 hit?
That'll hit.
Okay. So that's not with the because I don't have that hunter's mark on him. So it's just that.
And he's not been wounded.
Yeah. That's so he'll take a total of 18 points.
He still goes down. He was a little guy. Your arrow buries in the center of his head between. He flops back in the water and floats there. Like 2 or 3 more taken out different people. And then when it's over with, there's probably a few more that along the shoreline. A couple of the sailors are also down. A couple of Le Pousset's friends have been wounded pretty badly and are being tended to at the moment. There is no sign of Claude anywhere. So something, maybe he left with the Kuatoa, or maybe they drug him off, or maybe they killed him and drug off his body. But there is no sign of Claude.
Arrows is going to look back at the banker's table
Mm-hmm.
and the tables up there, since he's not that far away from him. The paper's still there in order. Well, I
They
wouldn't
seem
know
to
if
be.
in order, but do they appear to be? Okay.
Yeah, you there.
All
However,
right.
I will tell you
because knowing Claude, that'd be a thought in the back of his head.
that that's actually a good idea. However, the person standing close to that table, if it makes a difference to you, is actually Snog, Fletch's half-orc friend. But he seems to be busy with his hand crossbow, putting it away at the moment.
I go over
Okay.
to Stoic and I say, well, I guess now it's your time to shine.
To Stoic?
No, I contradict you. I've been shining all the time. It's your time to heal up. A little rest, and the goddess's blessing will do us fine.
Carter Louds will come forward after a few minutes and will approach the guild members. From the ships, there are now more boats coming to shore with armed men and the like, and a few robed figures, maybe healers or clerics of some kind. But Carter Louds will walk up to the party members, and he'll say, "Job to everyone. Gosh, I didn't expect anything like this to happen. I'll speak to your guildmaster and make sure you get extra pay for this. I'm thinking we should delay the rest of the auction for at least a day or two. This has been an awful lot to take in."
Well, we told Illumina that they were going to storm the beach.
Well, thank goodness you lot were here and some of the others. And at one point, Le Poussey will actually walk over and pull off a glove. And Eros, he will walk up to you and he will stick out a hand. Maybe some of you guild types aren't too bad after all.
Watching this with interest.
You're muted, Charles.
Doggone it, it was so good too. Harris will sit on back before taking his hand and say, "Isn't there a point of honor between you and Master Fletch to be taken care of?"
Poussey will look over at Fletch and he goes, "I have had a little time to think now, and I think I have a way around our situation so that we would not have to cross blades." And Fletch's ears kind of perk up, and he's like, "Oh, really? And what would that be?" And Poussey basically will put forward the offer. He's like, "I'll go ahead and trade you. I'll give you the land you want if you give me the fishing rights, and I can make my money back by charging wharf fees. Perhaps in the long run, even more money than I would have made with what my other plans were." Fletch kind of thinks it over for a second. He's like, "Sure, I can do that. Let's go up to the bankers and folks and get the paper signed and everything and get it worked out." And Le Poussey will walk off to do that. And Fletch will kind of pat Eros in the back with a big smile on his face. He's like, "Hey, I just got a 5,000 gold piece of land, 50 gold.
Yeah, good deal.
That's all the fishing rights cost me." And smiling big, he'll walk up and climb on the platform with Le Poussey, and they work out stuff like that. Clouds will ask, what if we continue? No time is of the essence for guild members, but what if we continue the auction tomorrow, say about the same time at noon, if you lot think he would still be available for security?
Well, we'd have to renegotiate the fee, because obviously extra time is extra money.
Oh, obviously. I can work that out with your guild leaders, and your pay will at least be doubled, and then some for the deeds you have performed here today. And hopefully that Kuatoa have learned their lesson and will not come back up on shore. But if they do in numbers like that, we'll folks to be here to watch out for them. But once work begins, that shouldn't be an issue, I wouldn't think.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Long story short, because we're nearing the ends of things, you want to do or whatever you can, but they will, the ship's captains will offer you rooms on board one of their ships that night for a place to sleep. They would be more comfortable.
Thank you very much for the offer, but I'll sleep on the shore.
They will be more comfortable than sleeping on the junker. And basically the auction goes through the next day with no problems. Eros decides to blow his conch shell again.
It's an idea, but maybe not the one that he'll do.
But next day the auctions go through. Everybody seems pretty pleased with what they got. And Fletch will be out there marking off the property, and he'll hold up his arms and say, imagine a great big sign right here that says the Rose and the Dragon. And
I quietly talked to Theron, saying, it wouldn't be a bad thing if that conch shell he had somehow just disappears over the night, and just sort of walk away.
Okay.
And I will forewarn Theron that he has seen Eros's arrows in work, and they pretty much explode out people's backs. Just letting him know.
Eros, that one guy that he was battling, he knew that it was a tough guy battling. He will want to go out and search that guy, that Kuatoa's person.
Wouldn't that involve swimming out into the water?
No, he was right on the shoreline, so he could still be found.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much all you find on him is you find a little bracelet that appears to be made out of seashells. Another conch shell on him. And you find a little bag full of small loose seashells.
Okay. He'll pick those on up as trophies, basically.
Okay.
He'll put the seashell bracelet on, just because it's the easiest place to have it, and he'll put the conch shell in his backpack.
Okay. In days to come, you will figure out, you're a ranger, so you know some magic. the little seashell bracelet on you has some kind of magic to it.
Okay.
And with enough study, you can probably figure out what that is, though it may take you a few days. It basically, seems kind of weird that a Kuatoa would have this, but it basically, it allows the wearer to breathe underwater.
Okay.
But yeah, the auction goes through fine the next day without any problems. You guys get a total of 200 gold each once you get back to Illumina.
So I give 20 gold to the guild.
Okay. And is there anything else your guys' characters would like to do?
Stoic meets up with Fletch. He's thought the matter over, and he's interested in the job, but he makes it clear that he is first and foremost a cleric of Ilmatar. And though he's willing to enter into contract with Fletch, his loyalty and his first duty will be to his god, and he's guided by his god in all things. So he and as he's explaining this, he's pulling out dwarven runes. He's drawing out gold coins, sort of gold discs with dwarven runes, and placing them down as he's considering whether he should or shouldn't sign this contract with somebody who's shown himself to be very devious and cunning. While he admires Fletch's eye for a profit, he's also got a dwarven straight streak to him, which doesn't like to be cheated and doesn't like to see other people manipulated and twisted. And so he'd like to go into a deal with everything on the table. And as he's explaining this, he's basically casting an augury spell, so his god can give him, if he signs this contract, will it be for his weal or for his woe, or weal and woe, or no? Get some sort of guidance from his god on whether he should sign this contract with Fletch.
You get the impression that it generally will be a good thing. You're a guild member.
Yes.
But you get the impression it will generally be a good thing.
But I'm not good. I'm not likely to lose 5,000 gold pieces just by signing this contract.
No. You're not. Yeah. Hey,
he's
Fletch
not screwing me.
No, he's not really screwing anybody. Well, okay.
Well, he's making good.
Yeah. Do you Stoic voice his concerns about Fletch being kind of a slippery guy, or was that just in his head?
No, that was out loud because he's straight.
Okay.
Yeah. To Fletch's face.
Fletch will. Okay. No, Fletch appreciates that. Actually, he will say, "Look, I grew up on the streets of this city, and I watched for years as people starved, sometimes to death, as people were beaten by city guards for doing nothing but being on a street corner. I've seen all kinds of horrible things happen to poor, broke people. And most of the time, the people behind it were these rich sons of bitches like the ones I just screwed out of money. So I don't have a lot of pity for them. I'm not expecting you to have things, but I don't feel sorry for those guys in the least bit." And
well spoken, I'll say.
I will point out I didn't do anything illegal. Morally, that's up to, and I would have never done something like that to like a poor starving person. who couldn't have suffered some kind of loss. By the way, what kind of god is Ilmater? What's he a god of?
Endurance.
Hey, look, you've heard the rules for my tavern, or for the tavern. I think a cleric would be most appreciated there. For that matter, if somebody's laying on the ground bleeding and almost tapping out, just ask them if they want to make a donation to Ilmater, and then you could take care of them, or however you do. You know.
Yep, I agree. Looking after the weak is part of. So I'll sign the contract and get my job.
Okay.
So at this point, this event has kind of rattled Zydek, and he sees that magic is a great power, and he's going to go seek out whoever's the most powerful wizard in the guild and ask to be their apprentice.
That would be Pincus.
That would probably be Pincus. That would be up to him. I'd let Charles take care of that.
It'd be either Pincus or Gaius, Ian's character. He's a retired wizard also.
Yeah, but he's not very good.
I would say that it could work out either way.
So what kind of wizard is he? He's going to ask once he finds Pincus, if he can.
What's he going to ask?
What's his school of magic he studies?
Transmutation.
Could you teach me about, I know you're not specialized in it, but the art of evocation?
He would he could probably teach you a little bit low levels as far as that. I mean, he'll say possibly Master Gaius, that it may be more his school. You may want to ask him. But either way will help you.
All right. If not with you, perhaps I should go look for another place to learn. I see there is for great magic in this establishment.
There is a wizards guild in the city. They would probably charge you to learn magic. Or another, whether as a full-time student or, as a dabbler, they would probably charge you something. Then again,
so
Pincus might charge you something. I don't know.
It would be a thing we would have to work out.
So I'll go to the guild and the Wizards Guild and say I'm interested in joining. I need to learn what you guys can do.
The first thing they want to know is, are you sure you're a great big half orc in heavy metal? While some individuals do follow that path into magic, it's not that common, and no offense, but orcs don't normally follow this path into magic. But
I've thought it over. I'm not the wisest orc out there, but I'm smart as any other person out there, regular human type.
Okay. We'll start you off. Give us a down payment of 50 gold. And your first class will be in 2 days.
Okay. And as he says that, I say, is there some kind of what do they call it? Like a student work program?
A student work program? You can discuss that with your first professor. He'll probably just test you out for a few classes to see how you do, and if you impress him enough, or her, we'll have to see who it's going to be. Then they may be willing to you and keep you around.
Excellent. And he'll gladly pay the 50 gold tuition.
Okay. And your first class will be in a couple of days. And are you actually going to dual class into Wizard, or are you just going to be an Eldritch Knight, or both?
So I'm going. Eventually, I'm going to go full cleric or full wizard with this character. But for this level that I'm about to get for this, I'm going to be a fighter.
Okay.
I figured that not enough time will pass between this and the next time I play with you all. So, but that's all he had really. So.
Okay. Anybody got anything else they want to get done?
I want to. This is honestly for Charles. Everyone's going to deposit 200 gold pieces in the bank.
Okay, let me write this down so I don't forget it. Okay.
And Fletch will be tickled pink to tell Pincus how he got a 5,000 gold piece of property for only 50 gold.
And he'll be tickled pink hearing how well that transaction, the auction went off, that it made such a good resounding sound for the guild into the city of Alumina.
I would like to buy some health potions at the store in Illumina, or the general store.
That's not a problem. In fact, the guild hall in Illumina has a quartermaster who has a shop there at the guild who sells such things.
Okay.
Though you don't have to buy items from there.
I will. Yeah, I'll buy it from the guild. I'll buy 2.
Okay.
Can I make a scroll? I don't know how scrolls work, or buy a scroll.
Can. I'm sure.
Yeah, I haven't looked into the sort of mechanics for this, but I'd like to.
It's not as easy as it. Let me see. Okay. Crafting a magic item. What level spell would it be?
First.
First level spell. Okay. Let's see. It will cost you 100 gold.
Mm-hmm.
And it will take you 4 days.
But otherwise, is it possible?
It is, yes.
Okay, I'll make a scroll of protection from evil and good.
Okay. But for those 4 days, you have to work 8 hours per day on the item.
Oh, no,
I'll
give up. If I've got to work, I'm not going to do it.
Well...
It sounds like... I want it to be easy.
You could go out and buy one for like 200 gold.
No, I'll make my own. I'll do it. I'll make a scroll of. I just, for the experience, make a scroll of protection from evil and good.
Oh gosh. And there's the rules for running a business, which Fletch will have to look into maybe.
So I'm going to, last but not least, try and find a blacksmith that might be hiring. Just that might not want somebody that's trained just to do the shitty work, like clean the forge or sweep up the metal bits and stuff. That kind of shit.
Is your character actually trained as a smith? Does he have experience?
He does not.
Okay, but you're big and strong, and yeah, actually, I gave it a roll, and you can find somebody who's willing to take you on for basically minimum wages. Just sustenance wages, enough to every day.
I'll tell them before I agree, and I say sometimes I like to go off with this new guild that I've joined. I'll do what I can when I'm here.
Well, unless he has, he's not crazy about that, but you can work for the time being. To a problem later on, well, then you'll be fired. But he's willing to take you on for the time being, at least.
All right. Thank you, sir. You won't be let down.
Okay. So as we're wrapping up here, does anybody want to do a shout out or anything like that? Third Archie had on, so that's like a full shout out for them.
Yeah, that and I think a reminder that the RPG Brigade Con is coming up here very shortly.
Yep.
I forget how many days it is now.
It's the end.
I want to say it's within a week or so.
No, it's just a minute. Let me look.
Okay. Because I know the last time I thought I saw the countdown clock, it was like 19 days or something. But that was a few days ago.
I think it's the last Saturday it's the last Saturday in October, but let me just check.
But while Caius is checking on that, he's trying to give the shout out to the OSG because of that it was a beginning point for this and for us to get to meet up. Drop Dice for the work that he's done for us on the map of Lumina, and also Infinite Roleplay for the rework on the realistic map that he did for us for the known world of Areawood. Okay.
The Brigade Con is on Saturday, October the 29th, 2016. And there are games all day and other activities. You can tune in. If you want more information, then you can go to Brigade Con on Facebook, Brigade Con, one word, or there's a brigadecon.com, I think it is their website.
Also, be sure if you go and check that out, at least if you got some money that's burning a hole in your pocket, please buy a shirt from them because all that money goes to good causes.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons why I bring it on up, because they do, the whole con itself does support an excellent charities, and yeah, and that's really a good charity. Also, go check out the Helmsguard series. We're still working on our next episode. We haven't had a time to kind of get together and do that, but you need to go check that out on Embershade Innkeeper.
if you haven't already. We've got an awesome bard. We've got an awesome group of friends, but I'm so ecstatic that we have such a wonderful bard in our party. He does corny little redos of popular songs and stuff.
Cool.
Sounds fun.
Everyone needs their own Scanlan.
Okay. Well, with that, I guess I will end the broadcast and thank any future viewers and thank all of you guys for showing up for the game tonight and hope you had a good time.
Thank you for running.
Cheers. Cheers, Ty.
Absolutely.
Cheers. Thanks
Thank
for
you
running.
for running.
And everyone have a wonderful time gaming.